Part 2. Escape. Chapter 4. The land escape guards led Vant into an office building. In stark contrast to the wilderness, the indoors were unfamiliar, confining. The air felt processed and had an aroma of stale coffee. They proceeded to a holding area. The guards indicated a chair for Vant to sit in, which he did. They posted up at the door and watched him. Vant stared straight ahead, on his best behavior. No one said a thing. After a time, a rotund, uniformed man walked into the room with a bundle of documents under one arm and Vant's belongings in the other. He handed back Vant's robes and plopped down at a desk. Vant dressed silently. The man thumbed through the stack, then slid over a translucent paper-thin sheet. Vant looked into the crystalline display and saw a visual of his own face staring back. In the image, he was clean-shaven, bright-eyed and handsome. Not the bearded, sunken-eyed husk currently slouched in the holding chamber. The visual was from long ago, when he once held residence in Land Escape.
"Records say that's you,"
said the man.
"That you?"
Vant kept his poker face, but ran hundreds of possible responses in his head. He settled on the least clever of them all.
"Nope."
"Kinda looks like you."
He raised the sheet up to Vant's face, studying the resemblance.
"Used to live here, kid?"
"No, sir."
"Well, records say so."
"Records must be wrong."
"Not likely."
He squinted at Vant.
"How old are you?"
He had no idea. His body had ceased aging as a young man, ceased the day he died for the first time. He lied.
29.
"You sure? Says here you're 120.
Vant swallowed the lump in his throat.
"And it says you deserted Land Escape 23 years ago."
Vant went dizzy. 23 years. He had been away for 23 years. He had no idea it had been anywhere near that long. He wrangled his composure and responded.
"As you can see, I am definitely not a century old."
"If you were, I was gonna ask you what's your secret. My receding hairline could use a few tips."
Vant fake smiled. The guard rifled through Vant's satchel. He fished out the corpo capsules and placed them to the side. He removed the rest of the contents and said,
"Oh, got some weird stuff in this pack of yours, kid. Gloves and a mask. Masquerade ball I don't know about?"
He fiddled with the whip gauntlets, but did not discover the hidden activation switches. Instead, he turned his attention to the mask and started to put it on. He prepared to tackle the guard, but then the unexpected happened. Nothing. The man pressed it against his face for a few seconds, then put it aside. Vant concealed a sigh of relief. The guard imprinted several sheets with finger swipes and stood up out of his chair.
"Oh, your lucky day. Gonna let you in. Word of advice? Behave yourself. We don't mess around. One step out of line and..."
He whistled and made a gesture like he was tossing something over a wall. Vant raised an eyebrow.
"Okay, fine, not like we have a catapult or anything, but cause any trouble and we'll shove you out the door and let the nomads have you. Oh, and one more thing."
Vant scratched his forehead in a preemptive strike to kill off a bead of nervous sweat that was forming.
"I'm taking a small processing fee. Gotta update my records. After all, as you say, they're wrong."
He snickered, handed back Vant's satchel, and pocketed the handful of corpo capsules.
"Welcome to Land Escape, kid."
Vant walked past a few patrolmen who politely acknowledged him. The civil servant's attitudes were much friendlier now that he was a citizen. He went through the final security checkpoint and climbed the stairs leading to an atrium, the entranceway to the central hub of the city. The view was magnificent, lush, dotted with the bluish-green trees so iconic to the township. He took a moment to drink in the homes, parks, buildings, and shops protected by the township's walls. Overhead, corpobots rhythmically flew into and out of the open-air roof, as did birds and fireflies. And the people. The place bustled with spirited townspeople going about their days. They were decent souls, living a free existence in a city that protected them, cared for them, and afforded them the opportunity to pursue lives away from the threats of extremist dogmatism and nomad savagery. A kind of buzz emanated from them, a calm, warm buzz created by the mishmash of cheerful voices. Vant soaked up the serene spectacle for quite a while. The citizens' joy, hopes, and laughter, in stark contrast to his own years of isolation, created a feeling of blissful overwhelm within. But the faces, none of them were the same. Vant had spent more than 2 decades separated from civilization, and now he'd recognized no one. The children he once knew would now be adults. The adults he once knew would now be seniors. If any of them were people with whom he was once acquainted, they were all now unrecognizable. Vant succumbed to a loop running in his brain.
23 years. 23 years. Oh my God, 23 years.
His love would be in her 40s now. Yet he retained a physical appearance the same as the day he was forced to abandon her. He wondered where she was, and what kind of a life she had made for herself. Had she gotten married? Or had she spent every waking moment staring out her window, tragically awaiting her lost lover's return? Maybe she had come to despise him. Or perhaps she had chosen a path of celibacy.
Hopefully.
Vant thought. The possibilities spun in his head. He took the walkway into town. In a shop window, he glimpsed his reflection. It was not good. Tattered robes, a mangy beard covered in dirt. He thought better of reconnecting with her in this disheveled state. She had waited this long. What was one more day? He made the decision to rest up, clean up, and make himself presentable for a very strange homecoming indeed. Vant took a flight of steps into the shadiest side of town, the quiet and least occupied portion closest to the wall. He entered the first public lodging he came across. It was a nice little place, quaint. As he walked through the door, an old lady greeted him with a kind but careful grin.
Deserter, huh? Well, welcome, stranger. Whether you were born here or escaped here, here you are. It's all the same to me. No judgment. Business is business. So, what can I do for you?
I'd kill for a bed.
The lady looked at him sideways.
Oh, not that I will.
Phew! You never know, stranger. Sometimes deserters need an adjustment period to adapt to our no-killing lifestyle.
Vant went red, ashamed of his social awkwardness spawned from years of isolation.
Listen, I had money. The guards took it as my entry fee. Can I pay you later? I've got capsules saved up with Corpo.
It was the truth. Every person was entitled to 1 green and 1 blue Corpo capsule per day, retrievable at any Corpo bot. As they were accruable, and Vant had not accessed his share in years, he would have no problem settling up with the innkeeper. She waved off Vant's worry.
Head on over to room 12. It's clean and waiting for you. Why don't you pop in the shower? Get rid of that odor. No offense. I'll bring you some grub. Oh, and toss your clothes in the hallway, and I'll have them cleaned.
Ashamed, Vant looked down at his cloak.
Can I promise you some extra pills to drop them off at the Corpo bots to be mended? Because I'm afraid that's all I have. So I'm going to be stuck in my room until they're tidy, and I just don't think I should be walking around in the buff on my first day in Land Escape.
Ooh, naked man running around. How horrible. Oh, my virgin eyes.
After they shared a laugh, she said,
I'll send them off to Corpo and bring them back when they're done. Call it 6 green 4 and we're square for everything.
Vant, taken aback by her kindness, said,
I'm good for it, I promise. And you're an angel. Thank you so much.
Oh, I'll flirt back with you after you've scrubbed off that grime. No offense. Just can't really tell if you're cute under all that muck, stranger.
She laughed as Vant, well aware of his revolting appearance, winked and headed off to his lodging. Entering number 12, he was amazed at how quiet a room could be. The silence was deafening, in a good way. He stripped, tossed his clothes into the hallway, and barely made it to the bed before 20 consecutive hours of non-stop snoring commenced.
He dreamed of death behind his back, in front of him, everywhere, nowhere. The laugh, the scythe, a flash of steel. His head off. Its eyes blinked.
Vant jolted awake. He was drenched in a freezing sweat. He wrestled for control over his heartbeat. He breathed. He massaged the scar on his neck.
I'm alive. I'm alive.
He thought.
Okay, just a nightmare. Nightmares I can handle.
He stood up, stretched. Outside his door, Vant discovered a brand new pair of boots, a gift from the innkeeper, as well as his robes, restored to perfection. He had all but forgotten the masterful craftsmanship of the hand-sewn construction. The thick yet pliable black fabric had a brilliant sheen, and he enjoyed the subtle details, such as the double-enforced stitches and the multi-layered panels tailored to his fit. He reflected on the last time he saw them in this magnificent state, then experienced a stab of emotion as the memory was pulled from his subconscious. His cheeks tingled and his eyes welled, signaling an incoming wave of emotion. He rubbed the cloak on his face and sobbed into the sleeve. It was all too much. Vant gave himself a thorough bathing, scouring himself raw. He shaved off his beard and his crispy hair, and even had to prune his rotted eyebrows. The layers of crud, dead skin, ticks, and blisters made a mess.
I'm gonna have to leave a good tip,
he thought. As if on cue, there was a knock at the door, followed by a delicious smell that buckled his knees. He stuck his head out and discovered a serving tray with food that had been prepared by the innkeeper. It lasted 22 seconds and never made it into the room. Best meal he ever had, no question. Vant dressed and exited the room a new man. His robes swished as he walked. They no longer scraped against the floor, as his posture was tall again. He passed through the lobby, hiding an embarrassed smile when the lady who ran the joint hooted, hollered, and catcalled. He winked at her again, to which she replied,
Gonna need more than a wink to settle your tab, handsome.
The day was astonishing, crystal clear. He moved through the energetic city and marveled at how little had changed since he had been away. Same stores, same streets, a few new odds and ends, but nothing major. Same clothing styles, same feel.
Well, you don't mess with the classics,
he figured. Vant arrived in the town square where he could run an important errand. He approached a cluster of docked corpobots awaiting customers who required information, who came to withdraw their daily allotment of corpo capsules, or who wished to exchange pills for goods and services. Nearby, a group of local children huddled by the bots.
Kick it!
The leader of the youths demanded of the littlest kid.
Fine.
He nudged the machine with his foot.
Warning.
A polite voice emitted from the robot.
Again! Again! Again!
The peanut trembled. The bot just sat there. Its brass pipes hugged its frame in brilliant ways and glinted in the sun.
Do it!
The small child tapped it again.
Final warning.
The head of the automaton, a glassy dome, pivoted towards the child. A door in its chest slid open and a weapon barrel telescoped out. The other bullies jumped back, cheering in amusement.
One more time! One more time! One more time!
It was unwise to taunt a corpobot 3 times. That much was common knowledge. But few knew what happened when you did. Vant walked up to the leader of the pack and shoved him in the forehead.
Hey!
I need to use this bot.
Use a different one!
Oh, this is yours. My mistake. Here, I'll help you.
Vant picked him up by the collar. He held his face in front of the bot's barrel, blocking it from aiming at the little one.
Hey kid, go ahead and kick it now. Let's see if this thing is smart enough to shoot through your buddy here.
No! Don't!
He wet his pants. Vant dropped him, repulsed.
Oh, this little twerp just pissed himself.
The flock of youths laughed and scattered, abandoning their leader.
You can't hurt a kid?
I can do whatever I want, see?
Vant whacked him in the back of his head with his right hand.
And it works the same with the other one, too.
He slapped him with the left.
You want to know why? Because I'm bigger than you. You know how that goes, right? I'll make it clear. You ever torment that little guy again, I'm gonna beat the crap out of you. Are we clear? Oh, and don't mess with the bots, or I'll feed you to them. They gobble up kids and turn them into robots. You know that?
The bully sniffled, holding back tears.
He worships you, you know? He was gonna follow your orders no matter how stupid they were, to his death. And you're wasting a loyal ally, moron. You only come across that once in a lifetime, if you're lucky. Now go on, get gone, and take your scrappy soldier here with you.
The kids ran off together. Vant eyed the corporal bot still in defensive mode, and wisely opted to use a different one, a few steps away.
Public records.
The machine chirped in acknowledgement.
Skii Tavee.
He took a deep breath.
Living or dead?
The bot chirped and spoke.
Skii Tavee. Deceased.
All of the warmth in Vant's body transformed into ice. All ambient sound disappeared. He felt like he should weep, but he didn't. After a while, he asked,
Living relatives.
Skii Tavee. Daughter. Living.
Ree had a daughter. Did that mean he had a daughter?
Where is she?
Incarcerated. Land Escape Detention and Rehabilitation Center.
Vant became lightheaded. His legs wobbled. He fell forward, catching himself by bracing against a corporal bot.
Warning.
It said,